Welcome everyone to the Board of Selectmen's meeting for Tuesday, January 3rd, 2017. Just to remind everyone, the meeting is being recorded. Before we get started, we want to take a moment of appreciation for all of our troops that are serving in the Middle East and around the world. Thank you. We've got a couple of appointments tonight. First off, we're going to recognize Lou Felini in just a few minutes here at 7 o'clock and stuff for all his hard work for the town. So we're going to do that in just a second. 7:15, we're going to have an update from the State Hospital Master Planning Committee. And then we did have an appointment at 7:30 for the Medfield Housing Authority, but that has been postponed to another date. And then we've got a few other things on our list. So I guess without further ado, we're really pleased. It's nice to have some fun things to do. A lot of times we're dealing with some unpleasant things, and it isn't necessarily always on a positive note, but we've got a great event tonight. We've got Lou Felini is here, and we wanted to take a few minutes and recognize Lou for all of his hard work over many years for the town of Medfield. Lou is retiring from the Permanent Building Committee. We've got a proclamation that I'm going to read in a second, Lou. You're going to have to put up with it. But Michael did a great job. I think Michael probably wrote it, so we've got a nice job there. And then I know we have a lot of people here that it's very nice to see everyone turn out to wish Lou well and stuff. I know we have a number of members from the Permanent Building Committee. We've got Tom, Mike, and Tim are there. We've got Roberta's here from the Council on Aging. Anyone else, Roberta, from the board? Okay.
Board and Bill Party.
Okay, excellent, great. So it's great. So without further ado, we're going to read this proclamation, all right? Let's get put up with this. Whereas Louis J. Felini was appointed to the Council of Aging in 2001 and served as chair of the council during the term of his service until his resignation in May 2016, developing many initiatives and fully supporting Roberta Lynch and the council staff. And as whereas Louis J. Felini worked to establish the Center at Medfield and the Council on Aging as strong, vital components in providing services to an important segment of the Medfield community. And whereas Louis J. Felini was appointed to the Adult Community Center Study Committee in 2001 and oversaw the design and construction of the center at Medfield, establishing the center as a much-needed and utilized facility for Medfield seniors. And whereas he taught wood carving at the center for over 2 decades and took pride in the accomplishments of his numerous students. And whereas Louis J. Felini was appointed to the Permanent Planning and Building Committee in 2012, providing guidance and input into the design and construction of the town garage and of the public safety building. And whereas Lou did all of this with the support and encouragement of his wife, Joan, his children, the Council on Aging, the Permanent Planning and Building Committee, the town meeting, and Fosse. Now therefore be it resolved that in recognition of the service to the town of Medfield and to the Medfield seniors, that we, the Board of Selectmen, do declare the 4th day of January 2017 to be Louis J. Felini Day in the town of Medfield, and urge our fellow citizens to join us in extending our appreciation to him for his many jobs well done. Louis, thank you very much. And we've got something also for you also. So if you want to, we stand for some photos and stuff? Yeah. We'll come around. Photos.
Congratulations. Thanks for all your service.
Missed those early morning meetings.
And then so we'll be taking a few photos here and stuff, and then we'll have you open this up.
Just say paparazzi.
Yeah.
Which camera you guys?
Yeah, no, which camera look at it? Yeah. Oh, there we go, Pete. Excellent. So once you go up here and you open this up, you want.
It's going to be about 40 at least.
Oh, 1, 2, then see a few things too. why don't you open this up, and then I know people might have a few words that they'd like to say too, so why don't you open up this present first, and then stick around, we'll have a few speeches.
Feel good? Of course.
Don't break it. Very nice. So in case we've got the Medfield clock. There we go. Yeah, just yeah. Courtesy of Electric Time for you folks that don't know that stuff. So it's very nice for the herbs.
I had a great time working with the town. Roberta, the conservation, with the building committee. I think the last 4 years with the building committee really taught me something with regards to the construction here in town and the people that are behind the work in town. The way the building went up, the people working, the 7 o'clock meetings, and the special people. Tom Erb, thank you for the Electric Time. Mike Quinlan, Tim Bonfanti, John Neri is missing. I wish him, the 2 chiefs, and further Roberta Lynch and the crew at the senior center, Bill Party, Mike standing up there. Appreciate it. Thank you. I enjoyed working with the town.
So why don't you,
Thank you very much.
Don't sit down.
okay, Roberta's got some.
I
Stay right
just-
there.
I'm just gonna be a quickie, because he has to look at this with me. So I just wanna say that Lou Felini basically hired me into the position in 2001, which I'm most grateful for, and he's going to sit down. So,
Used to your speeches.
So Lou, you've been my friend, my mentor, and you have done so much for the town of Medfield. And you really were the person that got people moving towards a senior center way back when. And I have that letter. I put a little binder together for you. And the letter in 2002 that you wrote to the seniors of Medfield about that bottle of champagne that stayed at the FAF Center. Do you remember that? And then in 2004, that the article was passed for the senior center, which was pretty exciting. I remember that meeting like it was yesterday. And November 29th in '06, when we all stood there and we did our groundbreaking ceremony. You remember that? Mike, you were there. Yeah. And then just many pictures of the construction of the senior center. And one in particular, when I was going through it, it was you. I knew it was you. And I'm like, who's that other person that's walking next to him? I didn't recognize myself. Those were the days where I had the baseball cap on. And then the next picture, there we are kind of overseeing construction of the building. So it goes all the way through to April, when I met you in the parking lot that early morning at Town Hall here, and I followed you down North Street and then into the parking lot, and I saw you get out of the car. It was really strange to see you here at 8:30 in the morning, and I saw you put something in your pocket, and I said, Lou, what are you doing here? What's that envelope for? And you said to me, you're not supposed to be here. I said, you're not resigning, are you? And you said, you'll get your letter later. So, of course, I went back to work, and I was in tears for days. And I'm surprised I'm not tearing now, but I just want to thank you for all that you've done for the seniors, for me, Joan for supporting Lou. You guys have been wonderful, so thank you very much.
Anyone from the permanent building guys, and say anything? Mike? Okay, good, yeah.
I wasn't expecting to speak tonight, but I'll ad lib. But Lou, it's been a pleasure on behalf of the entire building committee. I've served with you for, I believe, about 5 or 6 years now, and you've been a great addition. And I really appreciate all the support. You were at, I think, every single meeting, whenever you could be. Yes, they were early, but Mike made good coffee, so it was a good reason to show up. But we really appreciate everything that you've done for Medfield. It's great to hear all this other stuff. I didn't even know about you, about the senior center and everything. So we really thank you for your dedication. The town is run by a lot of volunteers, and we need more of them like you. So thank you.
Did either the chiefs want to say a few words? There you go, Bob. Yeah, yeah. I know Bob's he's not too bashful. I'm sure he can say a few things.
I'll wait till I get up here to say it. I'm aiming for one of those clocks myself someday. Very jealous. Lou was just brilliant on the building committee. Brought a different perspective to things, brought us back down to earth several times, consistently made the meetings, including the meetings on the top floor of the fire department barn, going up those stairs. That's quite the trip. That's dedication to get up to that second deck to go to those meetings. And I've known Lou and his wife and his daughter for a number of years, grew up with my wife and whatnot, so we've had a long time connection, so I know of all the involvement that the Felinis have had here in Medfield. Great volunteer citizens, which echo what Mike said, we need so many more of. Need more people like you guys to keep this town going and keep us in the right direction. The building is brilliant, and a lot of it is due to you. There's just a beautiful structure that's up there. And it's going to that building's going to have a 100-year anniversary, guaranteed, partially because of you. Thank you very much. Appreciate all you've done.
Did you want to say anything, Mike? Or anything else?
I'll be quick because I know Tim has to get out of here, but Lou, it's been a pleasure, really has. I know all the sacrifices you made and that Joan made to let you come to all these meetings over the years. The Council on Aging thought so much of Lou that I thought they were naming a room after an Italian film director, and I found out it was the Felini room at the Senior Center. It was named after Lou. Now, but I think it shows how much the people you've worked with appreciate your positive attitude and you're willing to pitch in and work. And I know how difficult the Senior Center was and how grateful we all were to have the building committee to get us through. And I'm sure they learned somewhat from our mistakes on the Senior Center, and that's why the public safety building came out so well. But thanks for everything you've done, and thank you, Joe.
I'll just say thank you too, Lou. I can remember when I was a new selectman, you were a huge proponent of the senior center. At the time, we were trying to build schools for $56 million, and so the senior center kind of had to take a back seat for a while, for a long time. But you were very consistent, you were very persuasive, and you really got it done. So congratulations on that, and then serving on the building committee and getting the public safety building and the highway garage done. And I just want you to know that picture that I took of you just now, that's the first picture that on my phone. So you're the first photo on my phone. I also want you to know that I have a new neighbor moving in who's a wood carver, so I'm going to send him to you.
Sure, yeah, and just a quick thank you. I remember we first met during one of your annual appearances at the Warrant Committee to tell us that Roberta Lynch was underpaid. And I hope someone is going to carry on that tradition of advocating for Roberta and for the seniors. But thank you so much for everything you've done. You're a great example to people in town, and I know you're not done yet. So thank you very much.
Yeah, and Lou, once again, thanks so much for all your service for many years. It's been great. Excellent, good. Thank you.
The town is better for it.
Excellent. Good. Well, thank you. We're all That's great. So you can stick around if you want and get bored, or you can make an early exit, which would be good. Exit. Thank you. Thanks, Lou.
Smart move. Hey, how's it
Next up for our 7:15 appointment, we've got Randy Cargis here, a member from the Medfield State Hospital Master Planning Committee, and Gil's also here with him, but I know Randy's going to give us kind of an update on what's going on, and we've also got a contract that we're looking to sign with McCabe Enterprises, so we can go over that, so, go, thank you.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year to everybody here. I'll just give you a couple of key things that we're focusing on here in the first quarter of this year. We have a public outreach meeting scheduled for February 7th from 4 o'clock until 8 o'clock at the high school cafeteria.
Yep.
And the objective for this meeting is to gain some input from the public about some scenarios and some direction for what we might want to do at the hospital. As you can recall, we have done some survey work to get broad categories of interest for things that people might like to see at that site, but we now are at the point where we need to narrow down the focus on what we propose that we would bring to the town at town meeting for a vote on a zoning change that would support that. So we're beginning this public process of narrowing the options of things that people might like, building on the survey work that we've done prior, but we're also going to bring a lot more information to people in the town around the financial impacts of the choices that we make. And I think we're all well aware that life is filled with choices, and the choices have consequences. If we want to have more public amenities, it costs more money. If we want to have fewer public amenities, the cost is lower. So we're going to put some better definition around what that might be and what that might cost in the very near future. So that's really what we're focusing on right now, is to get ready. There's a fair amount of effort required to do a meeting like that in a manner that gives good feedback that we can make actionable for our planning process. So we're very excited about that. Things are coming along well, but that's really what our focus is right now for the next 6 weeks, 4 weeks rather. Okay.
All right.
So the second item is that we have a contract prepared for you to sign to engage a consultant to help us through this planning process. You've all got copies of that. Do you have questions, or is there anything you'd like me to outline in this? You've got the details in front of you. And I think Steve has been apprising you of
As
the
we've gone
details.
along.
So.
So I guess any questions, Pete? Did you have any questions?
I don't know, no, I didn't, thank you.
Could you just run down a little bit the number of responses you got and sort of the process you went through to pick this particular
Well,
consultant?
we issued an RFP asking for people with a scope of work, and we got back 4 responses. 2 of them were clearly not all that appealing, so it was pretty easy to narrow this down to 2 finalists. We asked them to come in for a second interview, and we did the background check, if you will, the due diligence on the references that they provided for those 2 consultants. But really, it was fairly obvious when you looked at the paper response that we got. The written response of McCabe Group was by far and large, it was considerably better than the other proposals. And I would say that the sincerity and preparation that McCabe brought to the presentation to the committee was quite distinguished from their other worthy competitors. So we feel much more comfortable about this. I would say that, the first consultant that we selected, we had consensus for the selection, but not unanimity. In this case, it was a unanimous decision to work with McCabe. So I think that the level of alignment across the committee to use this particular professional service provider is much higher than we had with our first consultant.
Yeah.
So does that help, Mike?
That does, yes.
And I think probably, and it's been a learning process, obviously, for the committee as you've gone along anyway, so I think you probably have a better idea
this is
what you're looking for.
This is a very complex process.
Yep.
you know, there's a lot of technical details of what you might do up there. There are a lot of technical issues on the site. When you look at an old historic site that has the sins of the past of more than a century, and the changes in society's standards for building construction and safety, the decision matrix that we're operating inside of is fairly complex.
Yeah.
Add on top of that the fact that we're working with a volunteer group. In my professional life, I've been involved with teams like this from cross disciplines and whatnot, and we always spent a lot of time on it. We sometimes took teams through days of training in how to facilitate and reach consensus. You can't do that with a group of private citizens who are volunteering their evenings. So that is another dimension that I didn't anticipate as fully as I should have, and I think we've, you know, with the Consensus Building Institute that we've engaged with Carrie Hewlett, that's helped to fill a big gap in facilitating the meetings and making sure that we're focused with crisp agendas, outlined objectives and desired outcomes for every one of our meetings. She's also going to be very actively involved in this public outreach phase of it, which can be very complex and can, if not done properly, does not yield good results. So, yeah, there's been a learning curve for all of us on this committee, but it's a very interesting problem to try to attack.
Okay, excellent. Christine, any other thoughts you have, things? No, you're
Nope.
fine with the contract and stuff and the numbers. So we've got a contract here entering in between the town and Kathleen McCabe of McCabe Enterprises. She will be the consultant. She's got 3 phases of work she's going to do, and the total cost of her compensation for all 3 phases is $142,500. So, if no one has any other questions here, Pete, would you like to make a motion to
Well,
accept
you're
that?
only, just let me interrupt, you're only funding the first 3 phases
Okay,
for $120,000.
Okay,
First
First
two.
2, sorry,
First
first
two.
2.
okay. All right.
I would move that we sign the contract for the first 2 phases with McCabe Enterprises.
Second.
All in favor?
Yep.
Good. All right, so we're done. That's good. Excellent. Yes.
Randy, you had the committee was talking about a timetable coming to a fall 17 town meeting. Is that still operable, or is that
I think it
subject
is.
to revision?
I would say it's a tight schedule. We don't have a lot of, you know, if you look through the critical path on that, we don't have a lot of float. We don't have a lot of float. And the other thing that we're trying to be mindful of is just the personal schedules of people. It's difficult to do public meetings and public engagement in the summertime. So, you're working around all of those constraints. We think it's doable, but we don't have a lot of float time. So if we miss dates, it's probably going to push things out. Is that fair, Gil?
Thank you.
Excellent, good. Randy, thank you so much. Thanks for the update, thank you. All right, we had a meeting scheduled for 7:30 with the Medfield Housing Authority, and that has been canceled. Like I had mentioned before, we will get together with them at a future date. Under new business, the selectmen are requested to vote to sign the Beta Group, Inc. of Norwood, a contract for engineering consulting services regarding the planning board and on-call peer engineer.
This is a continuing contract. They're the firm that has been engaged for the past several years by the planning board to undertake these reviews. So.
Excellent. Any questions of anyone on this? Pete? or Mike?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Excellent. The Townwide Master Planning Steering Committee, Mike Quinlan, is again still here, the chair, is requesting the selectmen vote to appoint resident Jay Duncan to their committee. And Mike, any thoughts, Mike, on that or anything? Quick, yep.
I won't be long. Just Jay brings a lot of planning expertise. He's got a great background. One of the things that we struggle with sometimes with these committees is getting expertise in the particular task, and I can't think of someone better suited to really work on the team with us. And we hope to be back in front of you in a few weeks to discuss moving forward. So.
Okay, that sounds great. Pete, would you like to make a motion?
I would move to appoint Jay Duncan to the Townwide Master Planning Steering Committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Our next agenda is we need to vote to designate Selectman Peterson to represent the town at the annual MMA annual meeting. I think this is coming up in January. So I'll make that motion.
Second?
All in favor?
All right.
Okay.
Alrighty. We've got, we want to talk about Michael's merit raise there and kind of his goals and what's taken place for the last year or so. So,
Do you
Yeah.
want to excuse myself, or do you want me to hear, or how do you want to handle
no,
it?
I think we can, I think we've discussed this before. I think that's fine. We can chat, I think, about as far as what's taken place over the last year or so and things like that. And I know Christine has sent along to us some schedules and stuff, and taking a look at what we're looking at for a potential merit increase for you, based upon what we've done for management. And this is for this last fiscal year, is that right, Christine? It's for,
It's
Then
for
ended
the prior year that you're
right,
in.
okay, something like that, all right.
It's ending, which date are we doing?
This would have gone into effect July 1st of 2016. So it reflects the period from
That we're in right now?
Yeah, so it'll be retroactive.
the past year.
So it's literally last year.
Literally last year's 2015, 2016 goals.
I don't know, we'll start.
So I apologize, I didn't look at the 2015-16 goals that Mike did, and they didn't get sent out before the meeting, so I don't have anything ready to talk about.
Okay, all right.
We can put on the agenda for the next meeting.
You want to do that then? Okay, all right, that'd be great, give you more chance to think about things, all right.
Yeah, that would help me a lot.
Okay, good. All right, why don't we postpone that?
I looked for my, I thought I had them in my file, and I don't have
Okay.
them in my file.
Okay, under pending, we've got the selectmen's to-do list. I know we were working on it with Christine, you have some things, look at that.
Copies for you, as soon as I put my hand on them. Apparently I can't photograph the meeting and prepare at the same time.
Color-coded, maybe? Yeah.
They are,
Oh,
actually. Let me
excellent.
send this
Having
one
had
down.
my trouble with photographing things, I appreciate the problem.
Send that down. There you go. Very nice.
Oh, cool.
Very busy. Let's see.
So this was the list that you had given me
Okay,
at the last meeting, I believe. Several of you had met with Richard regarding this.
yeah,
So I took the list that you gave me, coordinated it by department,
okay,
and I provided you with an update from each department.
okay,
There are some blank ones, there were some questions to follow up with. So my advice would be to take this, I just finished it within the last hour, so
mm-hmm,
take a look at it, and we can discuss it for the next meeting. Let me know if
Excellent.
this is the format you're looking for. But my intention would be to update you at each selectmen's meeting if there's been movement on any issue, and
issues,
then
okay.
once completed, give a completion date and keep that as a separate list.
okay. I think that works for me.
And there may be some issues on here that I did not capture. I know there were several lists going around, so if there are issues that have not made it on
Okay.
the list, just give me an email and I will add that to there.
So you'd propose,
Thank
yeah,
you.
then to put some like eventually some deadline, or, so the completion date, that'd be when it's done?
Some
or
of these are in progress, some
Okay.
are just
Okay.
an update as to where they are right
Okay.
now.
Okay,
Some may or may not move forward, but at least to give you some conclusion
Yep.
of where they are on the list.
okay. Good. I know she did put the police department in blue. Was that a conscious?
It was, and fire department's in red.
Yep,
I won't lie, when I got to them, I had to recolor code the whole thing.
yep. Good. All right, so that's great.
Green for the green communities?
Good. Okay, so that's great. I think this will be good to work on.
Thanks, Chris.
Oh, you're welcome.
Good.
a little organized, more organized than the list we had.
Well, it'll be good to keep it evergreen going forward, too.
I think any update on housing-related matters and stuff like that? Obviously, it would have been nice to have the folks in from the Housing Authority, so that's,
Yeah, I had a call about just before 2 o'clock this afternoon from Candace that said she wanted to bring a gentleman that they've been working with who's the executive director of the Chelmsford Housing Authority and who is collaborating with them on the additions to Tilden Village.
Yep.
He was unable to make it tonight.
okay.
I tried to schedule it for the 17th, but she's going to be in California then, so it looks like the earliest would be the 31st if you decide to go ahead with that meeting.
With the third meeting, yeah, stuff like that, okay. All right, that'll be great.
So if that's agreeable to you people, I know, Mike, you weren't sure on your schedule whether you were going to make that one or not.
The 31st?
Yeah,
31st.
Oh, yeah, no,
You're all set? Okay.
we have a scheduled meeting for that night.
We originally didn't, but I put it on the schedule, figuring with the warrant close on the following week,
Yeah.
we
It's okay.
would need to
Yeah.
have that.
Well,
Okay.
I put it on my calendar, so I just assume that applies to everybody else.
So that's fine, so that'll be good, so we'll do that for the 31st then. if
Yeah,
they
that
can,
would be
that'll
fine.
good. Okay, that'll be great. Okay.
And where are we on departmental budgets? Have we started getting some in?
They're coming in much better than usual, except for Chris and mine.
Oh,
But
oh,
I just
They're
get,
in
Up.
progress, though.
Yes,
I was so
yes.
busy on my to-do list.
Well, then just
Well,
put
I
a
just-
10% cut in there right off
yeah,
the
Just
bat.
there we
simple
go.
version.
There goes my
Yeah.
merit.
It should
For
not
a
reflect
delay.
Mike's merit, it's mine.
No, I just got the information on the insurance budgets today from insurance
Okay.
carriers, so I can do most of those now, so.
Okay.
Okay.
But we're actually in pretty good shape in terms of getting them in. Now, what the condition of the budget is another matter to be
Yeah, but at least getting
determined,
things
but
in.
at least
Yeah,
it'll give the
okay.
warrant committee a head start. It looks like we're gonna have a sizable warrant. I've been putting together a list of articles, and there's a lot of issues that need to be addressed this year. Some of them are in connection with the governor's municipal reform legislation that will require some action. Some of them have to do with the planning board. I know they are meeting tonight with Mark Sorrell. That's why he's not here. He's at their meeting down at the town garage. And one of the issues they're looking at is what to do with the two-family housing
Oh,
issue.
yeah, yep.
And they say that may require as many as, I think, 9 or 10 amendments to the bylaw to achieve. So there's a lot of little things like that that are coming up that I think will fill up the warrant. We also have actions back from the Capital Budget Committee, the Master Plan Committee. You know, a lot of the activities that were voted on last year at town meeting will be follow-up action. So
Yeah.
hopefully there'll be no bonding issues on the town meeting this year, but we don't.
Okay.
You never know till the 7th.
Yeah, okay, excellent.
Mike, there was some legal notice that appeared in the paper about a zoning change that had to do with floor area, no, it wasn't floor area ratios, it was lot coverage ratios. That was aimed at the two-family in the downtown RU district, wasn't it?
There was a floor area ratio article a while ago at town meeting, about 3 years ago, that was turned
No, this has
down.
recently
This is
appeared in the paper
recently.
within the past month or two.
Uh,
It wasn't floor area ratio, but it was lot coverage
coverage.
ratios.
Lot coverage.
I thought that was-
That was maybe a public hearing in preparation to an article for that.
Yeah, for that.
I know there was some discussion. Oh, I know what that had to do. That had,
Oh, stormwater?
that had to do, was something to do with there was some confusion as to what the definition of the percentage of lot coverage was.
Oh, okay.
It was a result of those condos up on North Street, and they wanted to clarify it as zoning board, so I think they are holding a hearing on
Okay.
that, an advertised hearing to get input from the public.
Oh, okay.
Because the lot coverage, as they saw it, was 46%, and the lot coverage as the developer read it was 35%, so there was a substantial difference in the lot coverage. So he's had to go back for rehearing on that issue with them, and I believe they felt they wanted to try to put more clarity into the definition of lot
Oh,
coverage.
okay, all right.
Okay, all right, good, okay, excellent.
So on the consultant, Chris, when are we gonna know about our housing consultant?
RFPs are coming back next week.
Good,
Great.
okay, next week, all right,
Next week.
good.
And then we'll hire somebody right away, or?
It'll take a couple of days to review the results of the RFPs. I have had 4 firms solicit them, and we sent 2 out to firms that I had met at the Affordable Housing
Yep.
Trust meeting, so I'm hoping we get a decent number
Nice,
back.
nice, good,
So
excellent,
we'll go through, we'll score them based on experience and their recommendations.
okay,
So potentially for the 17th?
I'm thinking the 17th.
that'd be great, good.
And then the long-term plan is that your thinking was that we'd probably go the Housing Affordable Trust, is it?
Correct.
Right, that will be on the
Affordable
warrant
Housing Trust, that
this year.
is, yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
be on the
placeholder
warrant.
for that on the
Yeah,
warrant.
placeholder on the warrant.
Yeah, okay. And have we figured out how we would fund that? Would we bond it? Would we, if we're gonna create some monies to do things with,
That is one of the items that we have tasked the Affordable Housing
to
Specialist
tell us
to,
about,
yeah,
okay.
who has the most experience with it. Most affordable housing trusts are funded by the Community Preservation Act.
Which we can't do. Okay.
There is some money left over from the Community Development Corporation that was set
Yes.
up to build
Okay.
Allendale. I think it's around $70,000 or $80,000.
Yes, we'd be using that as the seed money to start the,
The start.
start the housing
Yep.
trust.
Okay.
So that'll be a help.
And Mike, do you know if the fire chief has submitted his budget yet, and whether he's intending to submit the 8 additional positions as part of his requested budget?
I don't know offhand whether that's in or not.
I don't believe he's planning on submitting that. I think he was looking for guidance from the Board of Selectmen as to whether or not you're moving forward. Obviously, a $730,000 increase in his budget would require a little more input than the warrant committee.
Well, yeah, I think if he's looking for input from us, we probably got to schedule
Yep.
a follow-on meeting with
Yeah,
him, because at
definitely,
least
yeah.
for me, I will also be looking for a recommendation from him as to what he
Yes,
thinks.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
What I've realized since is that I don't have enough information, and I asked him if I could meet with him, and he said I could, and then it dawned on me that you guys might be having the same problem that I'm having, of
Yeah.
not feeling like I have enough information, so that I wondered if we might want to schedule a meeting with him, like you're talking about, a follow-up meeting, or,
yeah. And I think we'll have to do it, well in advance of the budget hearing in March. Because I think this is something we'll have to square away. 'Cause if he is going to propose it, we're going to have to plan for the possible need for an override afterwards. And I think,
Yeah,
We'll
I
have to talk
think it's
about what
going
else
to
we're
end
doing.
up being a long-term resolution, because in addition to hiring the individuals, you also have the expense of training them, unless you can find individuals that come with the training.
It's the intention that we would hire them at the paramedic level. They would come in fully trained and ready
They
to go.
train, coming up with 700,000, we're already about $1 million in the hole right now. So to come up with another $600,000 or $700,000 is going to be very difficult.
well, that's why I say we have to plan, because if town meeting votes that way, we'd have to have an override to fund it.
Yeah.
If that's the
I think
judgment,
that's
so.
about the only way you could do it.
Oh,
yeah.
definitely,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, you can't do any cuts to
yeah.
support that.
The town meeting could vote to reduce other budgets by a commensurate amount, but it would be a town meeting.
Yeah, well, we don't
Judgment,
know,
so.
the school budget is up $2 million, so we don't know whether that will require an override once we get all the budgets in and start to take a look at it, so
Right.
it's, and then, from what I read, the state budget revenues are not rising as much as they hope, so that could be a problem in terms
Yeah,
of
as
our
far as
revenue.
the local aid, yeah.
Yeah, we did, and it just came in this morning, so I didn't put it on the agenda, but we did, Georgia sent me the latest figures on the meals tax for the last 3 months. I think it was for September, October, August, September, and October.
Yeah.
And it was around $36,800.
Wow, that's great.
So that's
a
for a
pretty big
3-month
jump,
period,
yeah.
so that is
Yeah,
turning out to be a very good resource for the
Mhm.
town
yeah.
on an annualized basis, but it's something you have to be careful of. If you start to run into a recession or a restaurant close, that can go down as well as it can go
Mhm.
up. So you have to
make sure you don't
become too
count on it
dependent
too
on it.
much. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Go budget.
Do you want the fire chief to come to your next meeting, or do you think it would be better to have a working session meeting with him?
I thought of a working session meeting
Okay.
myself. but-
All right,
Yeah,
let me see if I can
that'd be
coordinate
better.
that.
Yeah, that'd be good. Okay. Good. All right, that takes care of that.
Could I just ask some
Yeah,
other
sure.
things about the housing stuff? Has there been further progress with the lip on North Street with Mr.
Yes, there has.
Borelli?
Yes, I spoke to Mr. Borelli this morning. He has his architects revising his plans based on his discussion regarding the application to DHCD, and
Yeah.
he expects that to be done very quickly, and as soon as that's done, he will submit his application to DHCD for approval.
He must be watching the meeting. He actually just sent me an email. It says he has a new plan, will be prepared Monday. As soon as he has it in hand, they will be submitting it to the state.
Great.
And the state
Excellent.
is aware that the project is coming, so, and they are
Excellent.
aware of the Board of Selectmen support. So we'll follow up with a letter after that.
And I think Chris put him in touch with the woman who's worked on these quite a bit before, and
Yes, the woman who's developing the marketing plan has been helping them guide their application. She used to work closely with DHCD on these applications, so
Mhm.
she was able to assist in making sure his application would have less hiccups at the state.
Yeah.
Great.
And then is the country estate still on for the 12th?
it's still on for the 12th. I did see them come in with I asked Sarah this morning whether they had everything in yet, and she said they didn't. But then this afternoon, I saw them come in with a big bundle of stuff, so whether they now have everything in or not, I'll have to check with her tomorrow, but they were here today.
Good.
And they have provided for the additional unit, so.
So one of the things that was in the informational folder today was something about a volatile organic compounds at 29 Hospital Road, which I think is the Larkin
Mhm.
property.
That was a tank removal, I
There was a
believe.
couple
that they
tanks.
had a couple of
There used to
tanks.
be a gas
That's-
station there.
Well, it could have been a farming use up there at one time, too.
Well, that was the original Ford dealership in town, apparently.
Was it? Yeah, well,
Uh,
and
it was-
those tend to be fairly routine, they have
Yeah.
to take out the tank and test for contaminated soil around them, but it's usually not a big deal,
No.
so.
Okay, well, sometimes the cleanups take a little bit of time.
If they're fairly recent ones, usually are the ones that, because you've had leaking into the ground, and, the older ones
Mhm.
generally don't seem to be that much an issue, so.
Selectmen's report, Pete? Oh, did you have something?
Well, all right, I'll
Yeah.
just, I just had a telephone call with Suzanne Sino, who's working on the Medfield Inclusion Project.
Yep.
And she'd had a conversation with Candace from the Medfield Housing Authority about including group homes, apparently, in what the Medfield Housing Authority does. And it was interesting, because she reported that Candace actually oversees 2 8-person group homes in Foxborough. So that it sounds like a model that can work very nicely. She also has been working with somebody who used to work at DDS, who knows how to get these units onto the SHI list.
Mm-hmm.
And I can never remember what SHI stands for, Subsidized Housing Inventory. So that sounded hopeful, that she's making progress. She's having a meeting right now, actually, competing with ours about her Medfield Inclusion Project. I've done no meetings in the past couple of weeks. I'm very proud of that. But I did have a couple things that happened that I wanted to bring up. One was that I got a message on Twitter. This is the first time this happened to me, and I had to figure out what to do because I'm not used to Twitter. But it was a message from someone who lived at the Circle at the end of Hillcrest, telling me on Sunday morning that there was ice there, and that the town should do something about it before the school kids went to school on Monday. And he had called the town hall, and there was nobody to answer the phone, of course. And so it raised in my mind, and I've sent an email to Mike and to the superintendent and to Mo
Yep.
Goulet.
And it's
about
been
it.
taken care of.
And yeah,
It's
it
taken
sounded
care of,
like
yeah.
it. But the issue in my mind was that it seems to me that we should create a system for the residents when they have an issue like that they can report it to the town in a way that
generally.
Takes it off of their plate right away, so, and hands it to the town to deal with on
In-
an
in the-
emergent basis.
In the
Telephone number?
pre-Twitter generation, it was always reported to the police station.
Yeah,
They would call
any
the
issue
police
like that
station.
off hours where the town hall or the DPW general offices may be closed, we ask people to call the non-emergency number at the police station to report that.
Oh, okay, all right. I didn't realize that. So that, and that'd probably be good to have some sort of directions on the town, the main town website page about that.
No, I don't know with the Twitter and Facebook and Snapchat and all these other things. I don't know what,
Some Snapchats.
whether we have to change the protocols, but it seems like every time you get
I know.
one
For the
figured
record,
out.
the town is not Snapchatting.
You can't Snapchat your complaints
I
to
don't
town hall.
understand any of this stuff anyway, so if you're leaving me in the dust. So. But we may have to take a look and, because people seem to want to respond to different ways, so
Yeah,
maybe there's
exactly,
something that
yeah,
could be
yeah.
set up at
Yep,
the
yep.
police station or something to,
Yep,
that they
exactly,
contact us.
And the police, I think the police have a Facebook account, and so that they might be, or they've got a Twitter at least, I think.
Yeah,
Are they allowed? Chris won't let me have a Facebook account, so.
Hey, the president has Twitter, so you can have anything you want. And then I got an email today from Tyler Bronner, who was on the Senior Housing Study Committee, and saying that he's retiring. And I'm sorry, I didn't forward that along to you guys. I sent it along to Chris and Mike. And that's it.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
too bad.
there was one other thing. So when I got here tonight, I hadn't seen the materials ahead of the meeting, and it'd be really helpful if you guys could just scan the materials and send them out to us ahead of time with the agenda. So that it would help me a lot, at least.
Mike,
Good, all set.
You all set?
I raised my questions already.
did you? Okay, yeah, I'm all set too. We had a nice couple of weeks for the holidays. I hope everyone else had a nice holiday season also. Under informational things, we got the letter from the Mass School Building Authority, right? We didn't make the cut this year, huh? No.
Right. They expected that to be
Yeah,
2
yeah.
to 3 years before they could even get considered, because they give preference to inner city 100-year-old schools that are falling apart.
Yeah, yeah,
So until they get those funded,
yeah.
the likelihood of us getting funded is a few years away, so.
So, and they apply every year, right? Do they keep?
You have to
pretty much
reapply to
just
stay in
keep
the
going?
queue, yeah.
stay in the
Otherwise,
queue.
you go to the bottom of the list and
Okay,
you start all over again.
So I
so,
kind of thought, yeah, okay. Anything else on the thing here we've got? Let's see.
The South Street Bridge is, we got a bridge inspection report, and that's a 7, which is generally pretty good.
Okay,
I've given copies of that to
okay.
Mo, and so he'd have that for reference, but there were no serious conditions
Yeah.
with that. I did ask him about the Phillip Street Bridge, and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
he said that they have not yet made a decision on which projects they're going to fund. So they expect that to come sometime in January. So hopefully we'll know by the end of the month
Okay.
whether we have it now. The question there that he's a little concerned about is will they require design elements that will make it unacceptable to the town?
Yeah,
You know, sometimes they want to widen, they don't want, they want certain types of safety rails that are out of keeping with the character of the area, and, you know, if you want steel guardrails with metal posts and, you know, or if they want to widen the bridge, you know, that might not be something that would be, given the historic buildings around there, you might not want to do. So we just have to wait and see what they're going to require on the design, if in fact we get funded for it in the first round.
Do we know how much the bridge might cost, Mike? It's a very narrow span.
The initial figure he talked about, that Mo talked about, was around 85, 95,000 in that area. Because
Not too bad.
the substructure is fine, you know, the concrete
yeah,
is just the superstructure, the wood.
the wood, yeah, the wood
Yeah,
planks, yeah.
so it's, shouldn't be a real expensive project, so. And if they require too much in the way of design, we might want to fund it with our Chapter 90 highway funds.
Oh, I see what you mean, yep,
Look
yep,
at that.
yep.
So that's what he's got to weigh.
Yep, yep.
And if it
okay.
costs you more to design the bridge than it costs you to build it,
Build it, yeah.
sometimes you
Yeah.
better do it on your own, but
Yep.
we'll see. And Verizon, as I said to Evelyn, are they going down on their prices?
Yeah, no.
Don't hold your breath.
Have they installed the 2 antennas yet on those 2 telephone poles?
I believe they've installed one of them. I'm not sure about the second. I believe the one down by the Noon Hill Grill, across the street from Noon Hill Grill is in.
That one's
don't
in,
know
but not
about-
shown on Pound Street.
Yeah, I don't know about the other one. By the way, we are having trouble with Verizon getting them to initiate negotiations for renewal of their license. And
Oh, really?
my understanding is they are hoping that there will be some deregulation in Washington that will strip local government of its authority over
Given the change at the
cable,
top.
so we'll have to see on that. So apparently, this isn't just us.
Yeah, yeah, no, of course not,
Because Mark was telling me that Franklin's having the same problem.
Oh,
All
yeah.
over the state, they're having the problem. They're just stalling on
Sure.
renewal contracts because they hope that they won't have to contribute at the same level they have been for local service considerations. So
And this is for the cable, not the wireless.
this is for the renewal of the cable license for Verizon. We've already completed, entered into a contract with Comcast.
Yep.
So we're good on that, but
And this is the money that helps fund Medfield TV, is that correct? Is that?
we use it to fund the
Yeah.
equipment
Yeah.
and some of the staffing, you
For
know.
Medfield
We,
TV,
we
yeah.
don't, the town gets very little money from cable.
Yeah.
We get 50 cents per subscriber. So, you know, if you got 3,000 per year, all the rest of the money that comes in, which is, it's just under 5% of revenues, all of that goes to Medfield TV. To run their programs for them. So we're not seriously affected by it, other than we would lose the programs that cable provides and
Yeah.
some of the like meeting coverage and town meeting coverage and whatnot. So, but they would be very, very badly impacted by it. So. And this is not a new attempt. They've been trying to do this for years to get the regulations in Washington changed. So far, they've been unsuccessful, I think. They're hoping they'll be successful this time. So.
Mike, don't we have a new cell antenna going on top of the water tower at the hospital?
We do. We have to put an article in town meeting in order to accomplish that.
Oh, so that'll be a while then.
It will be probably in the spring. They've agreed to the terms, and Mark is working with their lawyer on it.
Yeah.
We only got one bid. It was from Verizon, which is the one we really need. They're the one that
Yeah.
has a very lousy telephone service in town. The problem is, Mark pointed out, is the selectmen need town meeting authority to award a contract in excess of 3 years. And this would be for, 10 years or
Yeah.
whatever. So we have to put an article at town meeting, get a vote for town meeting before he can actually award the contract. But everything else in the meantime can be set up, and I've been
Ready to
talking
go,
to
yeah.
Dave Maxon and Mark about that, so.
Good, okay, excellent.
And then there's a meeting coming up with Mass Housing about the Dale Street project.
Yes, I just got that information this morning from Representative Garlick's office, and that's been scheduled for the 31st of January in Boston. And will be represented by Mark Sorrell and Jay Tallerman.
Good.
And that Representative Garlick and Representative Dooley and Senator Chimilty
We'll be there too.
will be there too.
That's
so,
great, that's terrific, yeah.
yeah.
That's excellent, good.
But yeah, that just came in today for the dates. So.
Good, good.
I don't know what it is. Evelyn and Chris and I are always saying everything seems to come in on Tuesday. Tuesday's mail. So.
Yeah. All right, that's it. Anything else, Michael? You're all set? All right, good. All righty, good. I guess we'll make a motion to adjourn. Wow, that's quick. All right. I'll move. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
You're watching Medfield TV, community shows.